In this video, I will show you how I turn this into this. I'm Alex and you're watching Winterwolf Miniatures. I felt like making some terrain. Painting a terrain piece is sometimes a nice change of pace. Terrain is usually large and it doesn't have to be perfect. And you can cheat, cut corners, hide mistakes with more glue, flock or sand. It is simply a nice break from the tedious perfection that can sometimes be miniature painting. The victim for today is this ruined abbey from TT Combat. I've had it laying about for some time and a rainy night a couple of weeks ago I assembled it. While I like the idea of having the bottom open so that you can place it anywhere, I prefer my terrain pieces to have a base as well. For the games I'm playing, it's important to know where the terrain piece begin, and it also makes us able to do some cool things with floors and adjacent vegetation. I've cut up a fitting size of XPS foam and glued it to a MDF board of a similar size for stability. I'm marking where the building will be and cut away at the foam. I have an idea of some stairs at the front and I want the backside to slope down for better access, but mostly I'm just winging it. You can always glue back a bit of foam and start over if you make a mistake. When I was done with the rough outlines, I also made some fast flooring by making grooves in the foam with the backside of a brush. You could do this really nice if you want, but I went for fast instead. I'm using hot glue to fix the building to the base. It melts the foam a bit, but that's fine. It does however cure quickly and I didn't want to wait for PVA glue to cure. I glue some offcuts in between the walls and the floor, thinking that this building has been standing there for a while and that dirt would build up against the walls. It also helps with stability and it hides the places where the hot glue melted the foam badly. I've never carved a stair in foam before. Come to think about it, I haven't carved a stair before at all. I wonder how this will turn out. Learning by doing. With the building in place, I can now make the final design for the foam base. After some cutting, it looks like this. I'm cutting away little by little and try to make some irregular cuts to simulate cliffs. I'm not that worried about the textures. The cliffs don't have to look perfect, they just have to be good enough. I'll glue some sand to it later and with that I can hide the places where it looks bad. The paint will take care of the rest, hopefully. I'm using a nail file, those are awesome for a hobby by the way, to sand down the foam where I want a smoother look. The stairs look not very good, so I'll cut away some more and later add individual steps from offcuts of foam. Hopefully it will look like big stone slab steps. I've glued some sand to the base and I'm using an earth texture sludge to fill in some gaps in the MDF building, as well as giving it some texture. Wherever there is a big smooth surface, I add a splat of this stuff, thinking the smooth surfaces will look weird and unrealistic when it's finished. And here it is, ready for painting. Foam is very soft and brittle, so the first thing I'm going to do is cover the entire surface with Mod Podge. It creates a hard protective layer over the weak foam and will protect it from wear and tear when this terrain paste is used on the battlefield. It will also seal the sand and keep that in place. I mix some black paint with the Mod Podge to get a bit of a head start with the priming. I will prime this with a rattle can later, and that can sometimes melt the foam, but this layer of Mod Podge will protect it from that when it's cured. I have been outside priming it black with the rattle can, and now I'm just filling in some places with the airbrush where it missed or wasn't covering enough. Switching to white, and I'm giving it a spray from above. I will cover this in a thin green paint later, and by making sort of a pattern with different streaks of a variation from black to grey to white, I'm hoping it will look a bit more natural and not so flat. I'm hitting the stone cliffs with different streaks of blue, red and yellow. Looks weird right now, but when I later dry brush grey over this, it will not look so colorful. There will just be some slight hints of different colors. Stone looks so much better painted this way, rather than just grey. Time for the green paint. I was so happy when I found this green paint in a hobby store. It looks like it's the exact color I want, and I can't wait to try it. It's just a matter of getting the right viscosity and get it on there. The color looks good, but it didn't really behave like I thought it would. It covers quite poorly with the first layer, so I had to add another. Next step is the black wash. I just added some black paint to what was otherwise mostly water and went to town. This of course brings back some texture and definition as well as muting the green. And then it's time for dry brushing. I do this over and over with a couple of different shades of grey building up to an almost white. I'm hitting the edges of the building as well, but not as much as with the cliffs. The last thing I did with paint was to give it a dark brown wash in splashes nearest the ground to make the ruin look old and dirty. And then it's time for some grass. As with all the previous steps, I'm covering the areas where it doesn't look good first, hiding mistakes in every step. The only thing left to do is the snow. I didn't want to wait for the grass to cure, so I just went for it. Some places where I touched the grass I made a little bit of a mess, but in the end it was fine. Snow is tricky. You don't want to cover everything in snow, that would just hide all your nice work underneath and it would look boring. But you have to get enough of it there to sell that it is snow. It's a bit of a balance. Not only in the amount, you have to place it where snow would actually gather. Basically add little by little until it starts looking worse instead of better. Take it slow and remember that it's easier to add more snow later than it is to remove snow, where it's too much. The snow I use here is Army Painter's Battlefield Snow, mixed with PVA glue. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And with that, let's roll the reveal footage.